Hi everyone, welcome to my first official video on the YouTubes. My name is TK Saga, and today I'll be playing a visual novel that was just released, titled Without Within. Now the only thing I know about this game is that 1, it's a visual novel, and 2, a brief description of what it's about, which is that Vinti, which I presume that's the main character and who we'll be playing, has been getting nowhere with her calligraphy, and her confidence has sunk to an all-time low. As life pressures her towards giving up, will she forget why she pursued this craft in the first place? Well, let's find out. Vinti, 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 Vinti. The chants of my fans echoed through the door in front of me. Okay. Q save? Load, save, load, auto. How do I start? Nope. Oh, one of my 2 bodyguards wrapped his hand around the doorknob. Please prepare yourself, Miss Vinti. Once I open this door, we'll head straight for our limo. The guard had no reason to fret. I had long since grown used to these crowds. Still, I nodded to put him at ease. After taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open. A crowd of hundreds raised their cameras as soon as I stepped out. My guards waved their arms to shoo them away. This red carpet was for me to walk on, after all. I blew a kiss for these starstruck peasants. Okay, peasants. Miss Vinti, please, let us hurry, my bodyguard said. Too bad for him. I strutted along like a model on a catwalk. A group of reporters managed to worm through the crowd. They now tiptoed over my guards in hopes of scoring that exclusive. Vinti, how does it feel to have won another Calligrapher of the Year award? A reporter asked me. Before I could answer, another dozen people shouted over each other, hoping for my attention. Vinti, may I get a photo with you? Can you sign some autographs for my kids? And 2 for me, of course. Ah, I can't believe I'm standing this close to Vinti. My fans stamped their dirty shoes all over the red carpet. Finally, my bodyguards pulled out their pepper sprays to keep these fans in check. A young male reached in my direction. Despite having a spray aimed at his face, rather admirable for a peasant, I extended a hand for this male fan to kiss. Unfortunately for him, he fainted at the sight of my perfectly polished nails. I reached my limousine at last. My bodyguard opened the door for me, and as I climbed in, my trailing fans snapped as many photos as they could. Miss Vinti, Miss Vinti, the crowd chanted as my car window pulled up. How odd, they never referred to me as a miss. Oh, my graceful presence must have been too much for their sanity, these poor things. Miss Vinti, Miss Vinti. ... Oh. Well, I had fun while it lasted. At least I got to ride in a limousine for a good 30 seconds. In real life, my only registered vehicle was, well, my 10-year-old bicycle. My apartment had no space for a car anyway. Actually, this single room, with cracked walls, might be an insult to the word apartment. Pull up those curtains for a spectacular $1 view, featuring a sewage pipe and a wall tainted with yellow. Just open the window if you wish to smell the sewage as well. A breathtaking experience. By the way, sorry, I needed to take back the 1-room thing. This place actually had 2 rooms, thank you very much. The second room happened to be a toilet. That still counted, right? The toilet clogged 3 times a month, so be careful when using it. Miss Vinti, a voice echoed from outside. She was no fan, but rather my landlady. I glanced over at my clock, 6 a.m. Waited another hour or 2 would have been nice. Waiting another hour or 2. She probably just wanted to tell me about another rent rise. Nothing good ever come out of that. Jesus Christ. Nothing good ever came out of that woman's mouth. I would be better off staying in bed. Rise and shine, stay in bed. Well, let's rise and shine. Coming, as I changed into something more appropriate, the landlady still kept knocking. I said I was coming, did I not? Maybe I should walk out naked if that was what she dug. If this were a game, we might get a sale boost too. Good morning, Miss Vinti, the landlady said. I must ask, what's with that hair? It looks like you just woke up. That's because I did. It's a waste for young ladies like you to sleep away your youth. The landlady shook her head. She had no right to preach me like this. I wanted to tell her but decided against it, as doing so would give her an excuse to lecture me further. With her size, if I enraged her, she would squash me into Vinti-flavored pancake. Miss Vinti, your rent was due 3 days ago. Oh, well, at least there was no rent increase. Sorry, madam. My next paycheck will come after tonight's shift, so I'll pay you first thing tomorrow morning. The landlady grunted. All right, just know if this keeps up, you'll have to find somewhere else to live. She spun around to leave. Once she disappeared behind the corridor, I kicked my door shut, causing a piece of my cracked wall to fall off. I tried shoving the piece back into place. My effort resulted in more wall fragments flaking off. Great. The landlady would make me pay for the next month. Once I became an accomplished calligrapher, she would beg for a chance to shine my shoe. Hey, I sounded a bit ranty before, but that was never my intention. A lot of famous people had humble beginnings. I would follow in their footsteps. But first, I needed to put in the work. Okay. And so I returned to the busiest street in my area. With my calligraphy spread before me, I sat on the concrete and rested my back against the fence. Car horns blared behind me, mixed with people shouting things about each other's mothers. These cars kept expelling fumes that made me choke. Just one of the many things I dealt with in the name of art. Pedestrians took up almost every inch of space on the street ahead. Surely this would be the day when somebody spotted my talent. No. No. As always, no one afforded me anything more than a passing glance, and my will soon dwindled. Let me be honest, I never expected to be showered with praise by every head who passed here. What was that old saying? 10% of the people you reached out to will buy your work? I could live with that. Even just 1%. Please, anything but 0. I wanted to scream at these people. They had no idea how much sweat I poured into these calligraphies. Preserve or rant? Should I rant? Hey, let's rant. Enough was enough. I sprang off the ground and kicked the fence behind me. The crowd stared as I ranted on and on about their ignorance. It felt so good to let loose. If these people knew how to spot real art, my career would already have kicked off. 2 days later, my eruption made its way to the internet. Guys, make sure to never buy anything from her. She's nuts. Ugh, who does she think she is? Spread the news, everyone. We need to make sure people like that never get anywhere. Ooh, maybe ranting was a bad idea. My career was doomed. If I knew one mistake would destroy everything, I would have kept my trap shut. How I wished I could relive that day. Bad end. Are you serious? Okay, so that was the bad end. Alright, let's do this again. Minus all the reading. Let's do Rise and Shine again. Alright, we're gonna persevere. I decided to keep these displeasures to myself. People often said patience would be rewarded. I wondered if my patience would ever become worthwhile. Just as I thought this, a man paused to look at my calligraphies. He had a bucket of fried chicken in his hand. The smell made my mouth water. As the man eyed my works one by one, I felt my cheeks heating up from anticipation. At last, someone who spared me more than a moment with my works. This must be my reward. The timing could hardly be more perfect. I summoned the courage to speak with the man, but he spoke first. You're charging for these? Ugh. I managed a tiny nod. The man snorted, I would never hang these on my wall, even if you gave them to me for free. Seriously, this is the most shameless display I've ever seen. Trolls online were one thing. Confronting one in real life was a rarity. Judging from the man's scrawny arms, I bet I could overpower him with ease. Then he would know just how big of a blunder he had made. Nope, I'm gonna restrain myself. Folks always said to ignore trolls. I clenched my teeth and stayed put. After chuckling in my face, the man strutted off. Determined to prove him wrong, I continued to sit and wait for potential customers. Another 1,000 people walked by without sparing me a look. Lingering here any longer would be a waste of time. As I packed my things, I insisted I was leaving because my part-time job started in an hour. Deep inside, I knew that man's words had rocked my confidence. Giving up on calligraphy would mean I had wasted all this time over nothing. Yet, if I lacked the gift, persevering might make things worse. Tears welled in my eyes, and I clenched my fists to hold them back. Speaking of tears, I heard a kid crying within the crowd. Looked like we had lost a child on our hands. Some pedestrians shot on glances, but none of them offered more than that. These were really horrible people. To cheer myself up, I told myself I would never want my calligraphies to be owned by people like that. I should help the kid, but that would mean being late for my job. Yeah, let's help him. Let's be nice. If I judged others for abandoning a child, then did the same myself, I would be a jerk and a hypocrite. With a sigh, I walked up to the boy. There, it's okay. Did you lose Mummy? The boy was sobbing too hard to answer. I leaned in to stroke his back with one hand and his head with the other. Let me know if you lost Mummy, okay? I'll help you find her, so there's no need to be scared. The kid managed a nod at last, and I whispered good boy into his ear. What's your mummy's name? Hungry. Her name is Hungry? The boy's tummy growled, and I realized what he meant. Oh, well, how about I buy you a sandwich? The kid shook his head. I want ice cream. Wow, what a brat. Hey kid, ice cream is more of a dessert, actually. I want ice cream! And so ice cream it was. One for him and none for me. The money came out of my pocket, of course. My poor, poor wallet. At least this kid could have eaten the whole thing rather than let half of it melt on his shirt. Jessie, the boy said. That's Mummy's name. Jessie, Jessie, I called as I strode along the street. Now people stared at me more than ever, enough to make me blush, in fact. Maybe I should try shouting Jessie at random the next time I sold my calligraphies. The sky turned orange as time ticked by. Yes, I knew my shift started half an hour ago. Stop reminding me. A woman squeezed through the crowd and scurried towards us. She ran past a red light, nearly getting hit by a truck in the process. Mummy! The boy shook free of my hold and rushed into his mother's embrace. After muttering apologies to her son, the woman gazed toward me. Oh, thank you so much for your help. You're wonderful. Just wonderful. The torrent of praises curled my lips into a stupid grin. Anyone would have done the same thing. Please, if there's anything I can do in return, just let me know, the mother said. Actually, there is something I need help with. Buy my shit. The mother nodded. Anything in my power, miss. Which way back to the train station? Okay. The sky had gone dark by the time I arrived at work. I opened the restaurant door gingerly to avoid making any noise. Stealth mode switched on. They called me Ninja Vinti for a reason. Miss Vinti, the voice of my boss nearly made me jump onto the ceiling fan. Sorry I'm late. I wanted to explain, but my boss glared at me and my tongue slurred out a bunch of syllables. My explanation was in there somewhere. Probably. Maybe. I received an earful from my boss, but at least I got to keep my job. Several colleagues shot me frowns for not being here during such a busy period. In the end, I took all the blame without complaint. Well, at one point I locked myself inside a toilet and screamed into the bowl. I also might or might not have fantasized about dunking my workmates' heads into the toilet. That was for me alone to know, though. At least I earned the paycheck needed to keep my landlady quiet for another month. As for the month after that, we would see when the time came. All I wanted was to pursue my art, but reality kept pressuring me toward finding a second job. On my way home, I spotted a banner for an upcoming visual novel named Princess Aria. The game had long been hyped on every forum I knew. Amazing art along with a cast of famous voice actors. The writer and composer were big names too. For Princess Aria to have an ad this big, there must be a lot of money put behind the project. The way this banner hung high gave me the sense it was extra important. Bright lights shone on the prince's face to impress potential players. Yes, that was what I really needed. If I had a banner like that, no doubt people would line up to buy my calligraphy. I could already imagine how folks would react as I walked along the streets. Hey, I think that was Vinti. Wow, no way. You mean that famous calligrapher I see on all those banners? Yeah, she must be really good. Maybe we should ask her for her autograph. My agent would then step in to speak on my behalf. Please line up in an orderly fashion, everyone. How much for an autograph? Shut up and take my money. My agent nodded in response. Autographs are available for $100. Thanks. Okay. That would be $100, thanks, the game's shop owner said. Princess Aria cost twice what I had predicted. If I had bought the game, I would have too little left for rent. I opened my wallet, hoping I might have more cash on hand than I realized. Turned out I had less, actually. I hung my head and the storekeeper sighed. His arched brows pressured me into buying the game. I did ride 3 trains to get here. Might as well pick up something. I told the shopkeeper how much money I had, and he shook his head. The store owner pulled out a different game from under his table. He brushed away the dust on it so I could see the cover. The title read, Sunflower War, some visual novel about the battlefield. Copyright 1997, the bottom read. No wonder it was so cheap. Art by Invert Mouse, whoever the heck that was. I'm pretty sure that's the person that made this game. The front cover would fit perfectly in a kindergarten classroom. I flipped the case to see what was highlighted on the back. This game supported up to 640 by 480 resolution. Truly the pinnacle of technology. The shopkeeper grimaced. He must have sensed I wanted to say no. His stare made my palms stained with sweat, and I ended up buying the game. Dealing with folks like that had always been a weakness of mine. Remind me to never visit the store again. Okay. Alright, well, I think I'm gonna stop here. and then I'll continue the game on my next video. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that brief visual novelness. If you do like the video and if you want more, I'll be playing tons of other games, but I do appreciate any subscriptions, any harsh criticism. You know, I'll take it very constructively. And thank you for watching.